Hello, Laura. We're going to take a look at your first film, offer a little more specific feedback on what I'm seeing, some observations, that kind of thing. So let's go ahead and share here, and we'll get to watching. Got you all queued up. Okay, so just a couple of things to start off. I mean, we've already seen the film, and we know that the concept works very well. I think you took your inspiration video and you sort of took it in a whole nother direction and kind of offered your own vision to it. I think all of that works really well. But let's talk a little bit more about the editing of your piece and how it kind of came together, how we might be able to offer some observations and ways to tighten it up and those kinds of things. First, in these first 35 seconds, we have a variety of style in terms of editing, in terms of the way you're transitioning from one clip to another clip. Now, the variety is not inherently a bad thing. I don't think, the variety is something that is, in a way, interfering with the piece itself. However, I think the timing of the variety is too soon. This piece is all about starting with this sort of piece where the audience is thinking they're going to see this viola practice. They're going to see this person playing the viola, and then they're going to discover that this is really all about annoyances. This is really all about things not working out. And so when you create some of this variety, the variety actually is these sort of almost conflicting varieties. What I mean is you start off the piece here where you do a standard cut. A standard cut is where you start off, you play, right? That right there, right? You cut to the egg, right? Cut to the egg, right? So you cut to the egg. Those are standard boilerplate cuts. You see them 90%, 95%, 99% of all films do just that, cuts. And you're cutting on sound, which works particularly for this. That all works very well. Then you have the egg with the shell going right in there like that. That's fine. All of that is consistent. Now you go to what's called a crossfade, okay? And a crossfade is still okay because it's the first time we're seeing that, right? So you went and then you crossfade into it. Then it just sort of blinks on, right? So that is sort of like a crossfade with a standard cut at the end, which again is a little bit, it's quite unusual to see something like that, and it borders on almost looking like a mistake. Now, that's what I mean about inherently that's not a bad thing, because you're creating these things which are sort of slight annoyances in the piece. I think later on something like that would work because you've already sort of acclimated the audience to the fact that this piece is not about fluidity, it's about contrasting annoyances, but you put it in there very soon in the piece, 12 seconds in the piece, which I think kind of eludes, it appears to be more of an error than something that's deliberate. See that, how it just sort of, as it's fading out, another thing blinks in. I think that would work later on rather than so early. Okay, then we crossfade again, which again is another variety. So you got jump cuts. I mean, not a jump cut. You got a standard cuts, a crossfade, this sort of crossfade pull in, then another crossfade in, So as you can see, there's a variety of things. I'm not going to continue to go. You got a lot of variety of things happening here as far as your editing. And I think that it is a good thing. I think it's just you've got it going on really quick soon. Here we got a jump cut. That's called a jump cut, where a jump cut is where you have a piece of footage and you cut to the next piece, which is the standard cut. However, the next piece of footage is so similar in composition, it just looks like you forwarded it, you fast forward in time or a different place in time. That's called a jump cut, which you see a lot happening. And there's nothing, again, there's nothing wrong with a jump cut. It's fine. See there? That's a jump cut, and that's fine too. Standard cuts, that's cool. Now you're coming back, cuts, cuts. All of this works pretty well. So we're back to standard jump cuts, which is all still, you know, that works. See, at this point, we know that this is all going off. This is all, you know, all of this is now the annoyances are happening. I think at this point, we could have gotten into that sort of non-traditional, awkward editing because it's showing not just the awkwardness, but the editing itself starts to become awkward. Where in the beginning, if it was all tight and formally nice, and then you get to this end part and that's where I think it would have been more appropriate. So not a criticism, observation on how you could better use the strategies that you're using here, just reoriented to sort of hit the point home a little bit more. Your little grin there is kind of cool too. I like how you were sort of smiling there at the end. That's nice. Now let's talk about lighting. I would suggest, you know, if you're, I don't mean let's redo this piece altogether. I'm just talking about how this piece could be improved as you create new works, how you're thinking about making new pieces. Lighting, contrasting lighting. The lighting is kind of ugly lighting, and that's fine. You're not really doing anything with the lighting here. It's just standard, like just ambient lighting. There's no sort of cast light or anything like that. It would have been interesting, a nice contrast, if the lighting on you in the practice room was some sort of elegant, beautiful lighting. Some sort of spotlight, maybe a darkened background slightly, that kind of thing, which would have offered more contrast between those back and forths. Again, what you're doing is you're taking and you're telling the audience more contrast. You're saying this is different than this. And I think that would have helped as well. It would have demonstrated your sensitivity to the quality of light. It would have demonstrated your skill as a filmmaker, yet at the same time that you're deliberately creating these awkward moments, stuff like that. So I think your piece is excellent. It's got a really nice sense of humor to it. The editing itself, as far as where you're deciding to make these cuts, works quite well. It's very tight, a minute and 45 seconds, works really well. I think you've got something going here, just some areas where we can just really polish it and tighten it and make it, take it to the next level effectively. So that's what I have for you. And I look forward to your next pieces, and we'll see you in the studio. All right, bye-bye now.